Hello everybody, this is Shannon in Bengford with a Hobbit Music Studio Online. Today I'm recording my first video lesson, and the content is going to be, we're going to go over how to practice all the inversions of the major and minor chords, all 12, around the circle of fifths. And then we're with a groove, with a left hand arpeggiated pattern. And then we're going to practice some 2-5-1 cycles to work on some jazz, modal stuff, and 2 or 3 note voicings. And then we are going to be looking at how you add some harmony notes to the tune, the jazz tune Manhattan, kind of like the Dixieland jazz tune Manhattan, and a bass line, and just to put those two things together. So starting off with inversions first. Alright, we start on C major. We are going to play root position, first inversion, second inversion, root position, all the way up and back, while keeping our beat with our left hand, arpeggiating the chord. So it'll be like this. I'm going to change the minor, C minor, up a fourth to the key of F. We do F major. And you can improvise the rhythms in the right hand like this. F minor. Okay, pivot down a fifth to the key of B flat here. B flat major. That minor, B flat minor, this is the 2 of A flat now. Alright, up a fourth to E flat. Down a fifth to A flat. Oh, I forgot E flat minor, sorry. E flat minor. All flats, E flat minor. Down a fifth to the key of A flat major. And then A flat minor, which we will call G sharp minor now, crossing over to the sharp keys. G sharp minor. Up a fourth to C sharp major or D flat major. C sharp minor. We're going around the circle of fifths backwards here, by the way. So we're going to go pivot down a fifth to F sharp major. All sharps, or all flats, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, or G flat, B flat, D flat. Alright, and then F sharp minor. Make up whatever rhythm you want. Up a fourth or down up a fourth to B major. Go down here. B minor. And then up a fourth or down a fifth to E. Alright, I'll shift up here to E major so everybody can see. As many beats on each chord as you want. E minor. And if this is too hard for you, you can skip the arpeggio and just keep a steady beat on the root of the chord. Pivoting down to A major now. A minor. up to D major. We're almost there. D minor. All right, going down to G, G major. G minor. And up to C major. We're back to C. All right, we went all the way around the circle of fifths in fourths and fourths. All right, most of my students are used to practicing chords and scales and groove patterns in the circle of fifths. All right, next up we're going to go over some 2-5-1s. And I have been using as a reference this great jazz book, by the way, which is the Jazz Piano Book by Mark Levine. And we are going to be looking at our 3-note voicings here for the first time. So if you have this book, it's page 17. We're going to start in the key of C. We're going to do 4 keys. Alright, it's 3-note voicing. So we get the root in the bottom, that's a D. We're starting on D minor, D minor 7. We get the 3rd up here with F, and the 7th up here with C. Now that's a 5th. Alright, and then our G7 is going to have F and B. That's this G. F is the 7th, B is the 3rd. And then for the C major 7 chord, that's E and B. So we are playing D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7. That's a 2-5-1. All right, and then we're going to improvise with this a little bit here. To keep a beat. All right, but today we are actually going to walk a bass line while doing these specific 2-note voicings in the right hand. We're only playing 7ths and 3rds in the right hand. So in the movement is pretty easy. When you start here with the 3rd and the 7th, you crawl down a half step, and then your thumb crawls down a half step here. And as we go to other keys, it'll be those same moves. You start on a 5th here, the F and the C, crawl down a half step, crawl down a half step. Very simple moves, no matter what key you're in. And that's why these 2-note voicings sound so great. You get this half step movement here. So, all right, our bass line is going to be, we're going to arpeggiate the chord, then chromatically go down a half step to G, and walk down to C. And then we'll just arpeggiate. Alright, so we get a measure of D minor. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Alright, and we put these 2-note voicings in. Alright, and the idea here is to keep the bass line steady, and while you're doing this bass line, pretend like you're soloing in the right hand. Be very creative rhythmically up here with these voicings. And you can just loop the 2-5-1 in C major. Alright, and then when you get comfortable, you can start to practice soloing with the mode of C major. Alright, not super bluesy or jazzy. We're just practicing the C scale. This is more of a rhythmic exercise to see if we can keep a steady, consistent bass line while soloing. Alright, so the 2 ways we're going to practice each of these 2-5-1s is specifically with only 3rds and 7ths in a right hand, specifically with the bass line down here, improvising some rhythms in the right hand, like you're comping, and our left hand is staying steady. Alright, measure of D minor 7, measure of G7, measure of C major 7. And then solo. And when you're soloing, you're using a combination of straight eighth notes or swung eighth notes and triplets. So triplet, 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 triplet. And just try to focus on the chord tones you're playing. Just get comfortable with the C scale. Alright, the next key we're going to do is B flat. So if we take that C major and make it minor, alright, our scale is actually B flat major, which is this. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. 2 flats. So the 2-5 of B flat is C minor to F major to B flat. Right? We're not doing any sevenths yet. We're just playing triads. C minor, F major, B flat. All right. So we take the same exercise. Now we have to start with the 3rd E flat and the 7th of the C minor 7 chord here. Here's the full chord. So we're taking the 3rd and the 7th. And remember, we just crawl down our pinky a half step. That's F7. And then we crawl down our thumb a half step. And we get B flat major 7. So C minor 7 to F7 to B flat major 7. Alright, we can do the bass line, arpeggiate the C minor chord, chromatically down a half step, and walk down from F in the key you're in though. So when you do the walk down here, C minor chord up, half step down, walk down the scale of B flat. So you need to have the E flat in there when you walk down. Your C minor 7 voicing. And same thing, improvise, just loop this and practice grooving on the 2-5-1 of B flat major. To this shell of these fifths. This is like a tritone and then a fifth up here. All 3rds and 7ths in the right hand. And then you'll solo with B flat. You'll solo with the scale of B flat. Here we go. Keeping this bass line. Loop it many times. Just practice the scale with that. See if you can keep the bass line steady, a very specific bass line. And sometimes I'm missing the chromaticism down there. Alright, so that's the key of B flat. We're also going to do the key of G major today. So the G scale has 1 sharp in it. The 2 is A minor to D major to G major. A minor, D major, G major. That's our 2-5. So our voicings here, if we look at A minor 7, is we're going to start with the 5th right here. The 3rd is C and the 5th is G. We'll crawl our pinky down a half step. We get our voicing for D7, which is C and F sharp. Crawl our thumb down a half step and we get our voicing for G major 7. We are in the key of G, B and F sharp. So check out these voicings. Alright, our bass line, arpeggiate A minor, chromatically go down a half step, and then walk down the G scale on all white keys here to G major, broken G major. Alright, we're just getting used to the 2-note voicings in our right hand, 7th and 3rd. The crazier you can get with the rhythms, just great rhythmic practice to to be able to, we're trying to develop the left hand to be steady here. Walk a bass line, quarter note bass line, and practice only playing sevenths and thirds in the right hand. These are great two-note voicings right from this Mark Levine jazz book right here. Again, these are the voicings. They're right here in the book. You're playing only sevenths and thirds in the right hand, and you are playing just roots in your left hand. So everybody starts with 2 5-1s. Okay, then we noodle the G scale over that. So it's if I haven't mentioned it, we try to play our bass lines kind of like they're plucked, nice and separate. Alright, we're just getting comfortable just using a real simple major scale, learning the notes of the key that you're in, and learning the voicings. Okay, one more key. Let's do the key of F major. F major has one flat, it's B flat, so this is your scale you'll be soloing with. The chords then are G minor, up to C, down to F. Okay, G minor, C major, F. Alright, so G minor 7, here's my third, the B flat, here's my fifth, the F. Alright, that's where we start our 3-note voicing. G minor, G, B flat, F. Crawl your pinky down a half step. Here's my C7 now. C7 is the 5/7 of F. That's the 7th. This is the 3rd, B flat, E. Crawl this down a half step, and here's my F major 7. I'm in the key of F. Alright, so start on the 5th. Pinky goes down, thumb goes down. Alright, whatever fingerings you use. Top note goes down a half step, bottom note goes down a half step here. So we, and then our bass line. Alright, we arpeggiate the G minor chord here. Here's the G minor chord. Chromatically go down to C, walk down the scale of F to F. So you're walking from 5 to 1. First start off, get used to the bass line in this key, and improvise with these voicings. Later we can easily add another note to these voicings to make them 3-note voicings in the right hand. You can put the roots in with them, for example, like this. Alright, so everybody starts off with 3-note voicings here. Alright, then we're going to solo with the F major scale now. Here we go. We're not really going for quality right now. We're just trying to get used to the scale. Really a rhythmic exercise. You should be thinking of the chord tones. Nothing bluesy yet. Alright, that's F. Alright, so we went through 4 keys of 2 5-1s there, learning how to do 3-note voicings. The key of C, the key of B flat, the key of G, and the key of F. Practice those 4. And then we're a third of the way there. There are 12 keys. Alright, last thing we're going to do is we are going to go over the song Manhattan. And I have this up on my iPad here in the key of C from a beginner jazz fake book. Most of the songs are in the key of C in this beginner jazz fake book here. So we're going to be looking at, you can take a screenshot of that if you need to, Manhattan. And what we're trying to learn to do is add some harmony notes or some chord tones to the melody, to this in the right hand. So the melody is this. Alright, so we're just going to do the right hand here now. So I'm going to put chord tones underneath this. And for my students that are working on this, you'll have the chart obviously, but it's C major. And these two notes are from the A or A7 chord. And F on the bottom here. You can keep the F there. The F is the 7th of the G7 chord, and then E and G from the C chord. Keep the E. This is D minor 7. It doesn't say 7 on the chart, but you can play A and C. You could play A and D. A and D from the D minor chord. And then add in B and D for the G7. Jump up. Here's a full G7 chord. The melody is B. And then the melody is G here. Here's your C chord. Here's your A7. You can play these two for the D minor. And then you can play all of this for the G7 if you like. Alright, so here's that first loop, like the first 8 bars. Rest. There's all those notes with the D minor chord. Change to G7, invert it, put the B on top, that's the melody note. C or D are all. Alright, I'm going to go through the rest of the chart now here, so. And then it's A7, sorry. A7 is right here. I'm in with an A flat for the F minor chord, a G, and then the full D7. Alright, so I think we've written in most of the harmonies. You can pause this and write in these harmony notes, but the idea here is that you're trying to put 1 or 2 notes underneath the melody. You can hit them right with the melody, you can hit them at the start of the measure and then add the melody underneath them. You can almost even comp them. We're just trying to get ourselves in the shape of the chord so we can reach the melody and get the chord tones underneath it there. Alright, bassline wise, we did mostly roots and fifths, but we're working on trying to put a passing tone to the next chord. So at first it's just roots, then we walk down to A, up to C, D, walk down to G, walk up to C, and here's the walking bass line for the turnaround here. Here's the A7, roots and fifths, and then the D minor to A, F minor, and the C, and the D, D7. Alright, so you can mostly do roots and fifths and then put a few passing notes in there. Alright, so here's what it would sound like together. For the first week or two though, I would really just work on this idea of trying to get some harmony notes in the right hand. Alright, and then you can work on the bass line separately. The two together sounds like this. 7 coda, roots and fifths. Alright, and that's how we will be approaching Manhattan. A root and fifth bass line with some passing tones, and then the right hand melody with chord tones underneath it.